Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.
Welcome to Accidentally Informed. I am Claudia Jordan with my lovely co-host Erica Cobb.
That's right. We still look a little red carpet ready.
We do. Like we look kind of cute. Wait, I gotta set you up though. Welcome to Accidentally Informed,
where we still look red carpet ready.
I like it. I like it. Now listen, we are still recovering from our NAACP weekend. Erica.
Yes.
Besides the lemon cake that I got, what was your favorite part of the whole experience?
That lemon cake was fire. I wish I could have brought it home. Jure took it home with him. Yeah, so they ate it.
Did you eat any of it?
I did. I had a piece the night before, and then I had a piece of lemon cake for breakfast with my coffee. But yeah, oh my gosh, there were so many amazing moments from this week. It's hard to even like pick one. Obviously, the red carpet on Saturday was amazing. Gosh, the golf tournament was amazing. The fashion show was great. I can't pick a moment. Do you have a specific moment?
Well, all mine involve food, but no, we definitely had a lot of people showing us love. I mean, we were talking to Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood and the Shade Room and Neighborhood Talk and Baller Alert, like everybody, and Terrence J. And you know, we got a lot of love on how our looks turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything. There was just the whole week was lots of fun. We had a good time. We had a great time.
Well, here's my thing, because you've done hundreds of red carpets. Mm-hmm. So where does this one stack up for you?
It's pretty high because our looks were great. So that's always a positive, right? And we got no one rushed us out of the way. I've been on red carpets before where Pam Anderson was right behind me. So I had to get my black ass out the way. And then another time I was on the red carpet, I could not have picked the worst time. I think it was Angela Bassett and maybe even Beyonce one time. And my time was, needless to say, and rightfully so, was cut very short. Okay. They're like, you got to get up out of here. But no one rushed us. It was like we got our respect. We got our love. The fashion show was incredible. Yeah. I've been talking to the woman designer, Beshme, and I'm like, yo, I like everything from your line. And I don't know, it was like good vibes the whole weekend. It really was.
Loved the designers. We were on red carpet hella early. Shout out to GRT, Grand Rising Talent, getting us there early, because for that reason, we were there for over 2 hours of press. You do realize we did 2 hours of press.
I felt like I worked a full shift. My feet, I was like, oh my God, it was a lot. Yes. Yeah. Over 2 hours of interviews back to back to back. And no one gave us quick interviews. Like, they weren't trying to rush us. And I'm sure you've been on the other side of the red carpet where you're interviewing folks. People you don't really want to talk to, you just give them one question, a courtesy question, and you get them up out of there. People wanted to keep on asking us questions. So that's a good sign. I think next year we're going back and we're getting the win. We are getting the win. Don Lemon, you deserved it this year, but we see you, Don Lemon.
Stay out of our way.
I'm so happy for her.
Stay out of our way. We're ready. We actually, so our looks were from Sir Algernon. He designed our dresses. He lives in Dallas. You're in Dallas. So I flew to Dallas the weekend before and did my fitting. And then I understand that y'all made a pact not to tell me. So I didn't ask. I was like, oh Lord, I just hope that Claudia likes her dress.
Oh yeah, I was going to act like I didn't like it. So
yeah. Which is so mean, because my anxiety was through the roof. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't imagine you not liking it, but I was like, what if it's just not her taste? What if she really doesn't like it? And then oh my gosh, I was like sweating. So when Algernon was like, yeah, we were going to pretend like she didn't like it, I was like, y'all are mean.
Yes, we are. Shout out to Algernon for playing along with me. Yes. But he was just, I loved how excited he was about it and seeing his creations come to life. And this is the second time y'all worked together and he got it right. And I was talking to Tabitha Brown in the bathroom. And she was like, oh yeah, I wore his stuff before. I go, I know. Erica told me. And he keeps you on the best dress list. So I was like, yes, okay. So yeah, they love the looks and your color. This is inspired by you tonight. This is the color of your dress. Absolutely beautiful. I love that color. It looks so good on you.
Signature color. I do have to ask you about something that was not as wasn't as beautiful as the rest of the week.
Oh.
There was a little interaction that you have not spoken about, but we bore witness to, most of our crew. And it happened while you were sitting in the auditorium during the live show. So can you shine some light on this altercation?
What part are you talking about? What happened?
When someone was less than kind to you?
Oh, you met the former CEO that loses every lawsuit that he is in, Dame Dash. So what had happened was I was sitting in my seat and Dame's walking up the aisle. And I think this was just him being a tough guy. He was like mean mugging me. And I think he thought I would look away. So he's staring at me and I'm just like, sir, I am not the reason of any of your issues. I've never lied on you. I know the truth about what happened on the movie. You've lost the lawsuit because of your own mouth. And he's always a victim. So he was trying to like stare me down and intimidate me and play a game of chicken with me. I thought it was laughable. It was like embarrassing for him though. But what a fall from grace.
The most amazing part of this was Claudia wasn't upset that he had mean mugged her. She wasn't upset that like this was this kind of like intimidation factor at the NAACP Image Awards. She was upset because Dame Dash had the nerve to mean mug her while she was wearing a gown. I am wearing a custom gown. You don't mean mug me in a custom gown. And
do it when I'm in some sweats, sir. Sweats. But you know, he probably was looking at me like, damn, she's cute. Then he's like, I'm not supposed to like her.
That was the most egregious part. And it took me out.
How dare you? I was just surprised he was there. Because, you know, as much, you know, I was surprised he was there.
Well, you know, people like to show face, and that's the place to do it.
I never see him at the, I haven't seen him at any of the award shows, but I also wasn't also looking for him. But yeah, he was, that was just a funny moment. I was like, okay. Yeah, like, I think that's so corny when a guy tries to like intimidate you with like a stare down. Like
what are you going to do?
What are you gonna, he's going to do absolutely nothing. Much like the polygrip.
Jump on your back because he needed to see above the crowd.
What'd you say?
Said maybe he was going to jump on your back because he needed to see above the crowd.
Oh, he's a little guy. Well, much like the polygrip that fails him, he was going to do nothing. It does nothing. Does not work. So yeah.
Wow.
Listen, I hope he can like redeem himself, whatever. But a lot of I just wish he would know. And I've had conversations with him. A lot of the issues in his life are because of himself. Because he was actually in a good position, and there was once upon a time he did do stuff in the culture that he should get his props for, but it's his ego and extreme narcissism that continues to be in the way. But anyways, enough about him, more about us. Okay. First of all, shout out to Deon Cole, who hosted the night, who did a great job, but I expect nothing less. He's a fantastic host. He's very funny. But the internet has something to say about his opening monologue, specifically one joke in case you missed it.
Lord, we want you to bless our sister Nicki Minaj, Lord. Yes. She's been going through a lot lately, Lord, and hasn't been herself, Lord. I believe whatever's in her ass is affecting her brain, Lord. Take it out of her ass, Lord. We bind that spirit in her ass, Lord.
Now, the Barbz came for him, and he spoke about it while attending a Busta Rhymes event. Take a listen.
Shout out to Nicki Minaj. We love everybody. It's jokes, everybody. I want everybody to understand that, all right? Because I watched social media today, and I was like, God damn, joke. Chill. I got love for everybody.
So why do you think the Barbz have such an unwavering loyalty to Nicki Minaj? Could anything change it?
I think we have gotten into this identity politics era. We've been in here for quite some time. And I think it's very much the same when it comes to identity pop culture. It's almost like once of this, always of this type thing. And they want to ride until the wheels fall off. I mean, honestly, I would pay for that type of loyalty. Now, also, it can become incredibly toxic on any fandom. And obviously, when someone has wavered from their position and has been as divisive and potentially harmful as this era has shown her to be, then yeah, I think that it begs an account of accountability. And I don't think there's anything wrong with someone being the butt of a joke at an award show, particularly during award show season, because it really is a recap of the tastemaker or the temperature of the pop culture. It's kind of like jokes are very fame or shame. It's all the same game. Like, you're a part of the conversation, and ultimately it's a play for relevancy.
She
But what do
can't
you think?
she can't get sensitive about this because in her songs, in her lives, in her rants, she talks about other people. She jokes about other people. She does, make fun of people a lot. Listen, popular people get made fun of in monologues for award shows. That's kind of how it is. Usually award shows are kind of like a little mini roast session. And she's giving us a lot of material as of late to poke fun at. We're at an award show that's targeted for Black people. And you have recently jumped on the MAGA bandwagon. So what did you think was going to happen? And it's sad that she's being used to convince her loyal following to kind of switch over and not look at the Trump administration and MAGA as negatively, because she's co-signing them. So she's using her influence over her cult followers to kind of support a man that is harmful to her very own base. And I feel like I wish we could just be in a place where you can like someone's personality and music, but then also be able to separate and say, but I don't agree with her kissing Trump's ass. Instead of just blindly following someone off a ledge, like everything they do is okay with you now. Like, y'all totally switched, because a couple years ago she was talking shit about Melania and talking about get you Michelle, not a dumb woman like Melania. And then to switch, it just looks like you're a little unstable and you're just all over the place.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this when it comes to commentary culture too, particularly when it comes to recapping reality shows or giving your commentary on reality shows, because I always feel, and you have to be, I mean, so much further in it because you actually are a reality TV star. But the idea of there's one season of a certain franchise and you're really rooting for one particular person and you're going hard for them. You're being more critical of the other cast members because you don't feel like what they're doing is a nice thing to do or the appropriate thing to do. And then it's like the next season, all of that can change. But then there are people who are like, well, I thought that you were a fan of so-and-so. And it's like, well, actually, I'm not a fan of any of the ladies. What I'm a fan of is of the show and the genre. And then I appreciate the personalities that it takes and the antics it takes to create the show. So it's like, it's hard to go from, oh, I liked Tina on this one and now I like Alex this season. It's like, it's people want you to stay in one lane. And it's like, people have the ability to switch up, where their loyalties lie.
Yeah, and if someone changes their political stance on things that affects people, then we should have the right to be able to say, okay, I used to rock with her, but now I don't. If in all my shows, I've been so pro-Black and really capping and really defending Black women, then all of a sudden I totally stop and I reverse course consistently. And I'm just like anti. I can't expect people to still rock with me because I had a change of heart. Now, a mistake here and there, that's one thing. But to just change your whole trajectory and what you stand for, you got to be prepared for what comes along with it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. In the land of peaches, the newest member to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Nicki Cole, has filed for bankruptcy. Now, she even parodied the situation on social media, posting this video before dropping that she is franchising the restaurant. Now, is it fair that bankruptcy takes on a different meaning when you are rich?
I am loving Nicki Cole's housewife era. I am loving this. I got such a kick out of this. When this story first dropped, we obviously were looking for stories. So our producer sent oh no, this is the story. And I said, oh, this is probably basically a business restructuring, because bankruptcy is only shameful when you're a poor. That says me, who was the poor, who filed for bankruptcy. And that's when it was shameful. Rich people file for bankruptcy all the time. The president of the United States has filed for bankruptcy like 6 times. It's actually corporate restructuring in a lot of ways. It's a tool. There are so many things that are great for rich people that are looked down on for poor people.
Like crimes.
Right.
Rape. Right. Pedophiles.
So, yeah,
rich
she's
people.
playing the system. And honestly, and you should play the system within the system any way that you can. It's when you're playing outside of the system with the idea of like, oh, the government's never done anything for me, so I'm not going to pay my taxes. Well, okay, you can't actually do that. But what you can do is get very savvy on all of the loopholes that would actually constitute you paying less in taxes. Now, those loopholes often are very much gatekept by the higher class rich people. So unless you are going to actually do your due diligence and research, which most people don't have the privilege of time to do, then you don't understand that. But that's the reason why the more money that you make when you have people working and looking out for you on your behalf, far less taxes. I paid less taxes in the past 10 years than I did when I was making far less money because there's so many loopholes.
They really do screw the poor and the lower middle class. I filed bankruptcy as well before, but I filed with someone that was a scammer. So I paid 2 people money to, basically I got behind on my mortgage. My show got canceled and it was out of the blue. I had no idea what was happening and I had to figure something out. So I got behind my mortgage. I had 2 houses at the time. And I think say I owed 25,000 and I had 20. I needed like the last little bit. They refused to like take a partial payment. And so basically I was just going to get foreclosed upon for a partial payment. Me and my pride, I wouldn't even tell anybody to even see if I can get a loan from anyone. I just was like, well, so someone that I thought was good in this field told me that you could file bankruptcy and kind of give you like a stay, it kind of delays it, restructure, get it together. And I was trying to delay it so I could save my homes. I had $1 million in real estate at the time by myself. And so the person ended up taking my money, 2 people did, and they filed the initial paperwork and they didn't follow up with anything else. So I still get dinged for that. Like if someone wants to like get a jab on me, oh, you filed bankruptcy, but I didn't really get a lot of the protections of it because it didn't really go on. So it was like, I lost twice.
Well, that
you know what I mean?
sucks.
So I remember going on like a finale of one of I think it was on Celebrity Apprentice, and then Omarosa going, well, you filed bankruptcy. I'm like, bitch, your breast stink. Okay. So we all have our crosses to bear.
There's honestly, I do want to just take this moment to say things happen and clearly there's a lot going on in this economy. And if bankruptcy is the route that you need to take, yes, it's going to set you back in terms of like, no, it's going to be very difficult to get credit cards. It's going to be very difficult to apply for anything for a while. And obviously I also had to get a vehicle after I filed for bankruptcy. And that's predatory AF because I think my percentage rate was like 22 or 25.
Oh my God, really?
Which is just insane. And they put a GPS tracker on my car.
They said she don't pay her bills, y'all. We might have a runner here. She a runner, she a track star.
Amex just started. Amex was the worst. They were like, no, you filed for bankruptcy in this lifetime. We are not giving you one of our cards. I just got an Amex like maybe 5 years ago. I don't even know. It was over 10 years. Most of them, they're going to make you go 7 years and then you can start applying for credit cards and all of that. But do not be shamed out of doing something that might be in your best interest. And the other thing is, in terms of bankruptcy, watch out for predatory people like Claudia was just talking about. But if you can get an attorney in your area who has like an opportunity to either represent you full out, or they have an option where if you're really in financial dire straits, which I was in 13 years ago, 14 years ago. Anyway, but I was in dire straits. So I had to do all of my own legwork. God. I had to pay a very small percentage to the attorney and he walked me through all of the cases. I literally, to this day, it's been, 14 years ago. To this day, I still have all of my paperwork in a box, completely organized. And I have 2 of those like hefty bin things, those storage bins. and I refused to get rid of it. My husband, who we weren't together, we didn't know each other at the time. This was a different lifetime ago. My husband has asked me so many times to get rid of this paperwork, and I refused to because it was a year of my life. It was a year
Yeah.
of work.
Plus, you get scared. You're like, I got to keep all my records just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's my 2 cents about bankruptcy. Do not be shamed if that is the only course of action.
And the people that say they can help you, the guy that got me, his name was Keith. Last name begins with an M, ends with the word Brooks. He ended up serving time in federal prison because we found out that he was getting scamming a lot of like NFL players, like young Black people that wealthy that came into money quickly. Oh, I can get you this credit card, this American Express, that line of credit. He was like, posing as a financial advisor, and he would collect money. Like, I think he charged me like $16,000. And like I said, I had 20 and I owed 25. I could just put that towards the more, try to, figure it out, but no. And he'll just take your money and then not really complete the paperwork, and then you're screwed. And so he was just committing fraud left and right. So I got screwed, and I had to move I had 2 huge homes, one in LA, one in California, one in Phoenix. And then I went from that into a 2-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood and had to start from scratch. I went from 6 figures in the bank to $80, and I had to claw my way back. So now being back at a house, having my range, my Bentley, and having a few dollars in the bank, I'll never feel comfortable like I'm there, but I am a little scary about money now. You know what I mean? I definitely am.
It's financial PTSD. And honestly,
yeah.
that's a part of what keeps me in line in terms of like, I'm very much, I'm always thinking about that. I don't want to go back to where I've been.
I'm not even gambling anymore right now. You see, I haven't gambled in a long time. I've been because I think about how much money I went through. Yeah. I went to the casino once. I did $40. I ran it up to like 300. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to, usually I go to the ATM and just 1,000. And I'm like, how many tens of thousands have I ran through where I could have put that on an apartment building or another home? A lot I could have done. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. So better late than never. But anyways.
Love this. #growth. Okay.
Boring.
Let's move over to Potomac. Speaking of keeping up with the Joneses. This week's reunion delivered pure chaos, but once the dust settled, Monique Samuels stepped in to clear Stacey Rusch's name following some pretty serious allegations. So she took to social media saying a lot of time has passed since the reunion taped. And after sitting with it, she doesn't believe Stacey did anything wrong. Okay. I have a lot of questions, but let's just start with, is it okay to accuse someone of something during the reunion and then come back and backtrack? Because that recording reportedly was a recording of Monique's kids talking about being asked or talking about Stacey.
The kid was saying, "Where's Stacey?" I think that really wasn't the home run out of the park that you would need, I would think. But I will say this, as someone that was on a reality show very briefly, but when you're on a show and you have an issue with someone, people are always volunteering information, whether it's accurate or not. And people are loving being part of the story without being in the story, like feeding you information. Oh, girl, I saw Stacey with your ex. Oh, I heard. And at the time, it sounds believable. And at the time when you're on a reality show, you're always kind of on defense and offense at the same time. Like, you are collecting information on other people in case they come for you. You have something ready for them. So you may not investigate like you should sometimes. And people do that. They just say they have things in their back pocket to be able to just get someone back, get you, read you down, and save face. So I totally understand getting some information, maybe not being as vetted as it should be. Is it right? No. But I'm just saying it does happen. But to me, and I said this on Monday Night Live, I think Monique is the MVP, not of the season, but in that situation, because she could have let it ride and easily had a reason for a beef with Stacey for next season. But she decided to clear the air once she found out. To me, that shows someone that has a lot of growth and has integrity, because playing the victim gets you a lot of sympathy from the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Makes Stacey look like she wrong, and how could she? And ooh, there's something shady there. The fact that Monique went out of her way to clear it up, she a real one for that. Shout out to her for that.
See, I get concerned about just in the housewife Olympics type thing, because when someone like Monique, who obviously had like her housewifery marred by, the altercation with Candace and the attack with Candace, she's coming back in a state of accountability. Like that's what she's giving, right? But the problem is, other than coming on in this initial season where it seems as though not only is she serving accountability, but also the other ladies seem to kind of like have this temper, like it's like a tempered situation, which generally means that the next season it's going to ramp up. And so if you come back saying that I've changed and I've healed in this way, how do you create longevity in this type of a genre?
Okay, I think her coming back healed was storyline, right? And not saying that she wasn't, but that was producers were like, okay, that's a good way a reason to bring you back in because we put you on ice for a while, right? Or no, you left. And now that she's established as came back and she's healed, next season they're gonna I bet you they'll set her up to crash out. And I think that's what that was an attempt to do with the Stacey and the Chris of it all. And it kind of fell flat now. It didn't really pop off like they thought, but best believe producers are like psychiatrists on the show. You have your producer, they check in with you, you start to forget they're your producer and that you start thinking that they're your friend and you start getting loose with them like, yeah, Chris said this or I heard that or whatever. You just like start talking to them like you would talk to your hairdresser. They're taking notes. You don't think they're taking notes. They're always working. And that's how they know how they're going to craft your storyline. You're not really in on the storyline. You guys know that, right? Like you're not really in on it. A lot of times when you try to create a storyline, it doesn't really work, but they know what they're having meetings. Okay. They're having production meetings about where they're going to take it. Most shows are like that. Not all. Yeah. But trust me. You think you're going to produce yourself? You're not.
Yeah, no. You would be surprised at how many people like producers outside of reality television. I will never forget the first time that I realized I was like, I think I'm kind of on a reality TV show, but I was on a daytime talk show. But I said to one of my producers, I said this to him verbatim. I said, do not produce me. And he goes,
they will.
I was so serious. I said it with my whole chest because I didn't appreciate him producing me. And he goes, well, I am your producer. I'm the producer for the show. And I said, no. It's not that I don't want you to be the producer on the show. I don't want you to produce me. Meaning you are putting this story in this way in order to get me to have a reaction. And it's so transparent that I can't unsee it. And now I don't want to play the game. And I was like, we're not on Bravo. Yeah. We're not on E. Like, we're on broadcast television during the day. I don't like it. And I'm like, either do it better or don't do it at all, because it was so transparent. And I'm sure everybody, people are going to hear this and, their butts are going to clench, but still.
Well, let them butt cheeks clench. Maybe they need to. They are manipulators. And listen, in fairness to them, they kind of have to be, because if they leave it, they leave it for the talent to be exciting. A lot of people, well, I don't want to say this. Well, I don't want to say that. Well, I don't want them to think this, and we wouldn't really have a show. So it is a necessary evil. It is, unfortunately.
Well, our producers are the glue of the show. Like without them, the show doesn't happen. It's just that I think in the moment, one, it was a very consequential subject matter. We were in the middle of like the biggest civil rights moment in my history of my life. And I didn't want to be produced in that way. It felt manipulative to something that was very consequential in the moment. And that's the reason why I had that reaction. Lauren said, do not produce me, said Erica. But it was true. I was like, do you understand how consequential this is right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was the backstory on that. But
thou shall not try me.
Yeah, and Megan, we love you. She's like,
Megan's like, hey, lower your gun.
All right. Well, this month, E is dropping a new series called Dirty Rotten Scandals, taking you behind the scenes of some of your favorite shows. Now, our girl Claudia is in the Price is Right episode. And another episode is America's Next Top Model, in which Janice Dickinson alleges that Tyra Banks went harder on Black girls out of competitiveness and jealousy, calling her a hardcore bitch. That's a lot, Janice. That's a lot. Okay, so first of all, Claudia, how many? So this is one episode on Price is Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we're expecting what, about an hour?
Myself, I'm on it. Some of the producers behind the scenes, female producers, Holly, that had a big lawsuit with them. She was like the catalyst of like all the other women getting fired because she refused to lie for Bob Barker. You're gonna see that. There was a producer that I had an interaction with that is no longer with us, but he was grandfathered in. It was really hard to get him out of there, so he had been verbally, and he's put his hands on people as well. We tell it all because the two people that did me dirty, they are dead, so I can talk about it.
Why do we have to wait for people to die to talk about it? Doesn't it feel like everybody's coming? It's like, I mean, well, actually, I shouldn't even say that because a lot of people are being exposed in real time.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before, but like, I think, I don't know, you feel there are still powers that be, right? And we're seeing now with all this Epstein stuff that a lot of these rich, powerful people all connected, and people start disappearing, and people start falling out of roofs, and people start hanging themselves, and people start getting run over by trains, or, these weird scenarios that happen because it's really much bigger than just one person abusing you or getting out of pocket. It's like a whole network of people, and there's a system in place that supports them. It's not just them. They're friends with the owner of the network or the biggest casting director in Hollywood or the CEO of this company or the sponsor. Like, you know what I mean? So I see why people are scary, but then you get a little bit more comfortable once they meet their maker. And by maker, I mean Satan. Satan. Hey, Phil.
Here, and I think I'm pretty sure we talked about it here on the show, but just the idea of what's happening by everybody getting exposed right now and what that's like, what is at the foundation of that? And a lot of that is because the promises that were made to people, because there are promises made to buy that type of silence or to buy that type of coercion, And once Hollywood stopped having more opportunity or started having less opportunities, once the money started running dry, then people started realizing that what they were promised in order to look the other way or to lie for someone or to aid and abet is never going to come to fruition. And everyone started talking. And then there are people like you who have been very outspoken. See, that's why I'm like, your neurodivergent.
21 years.
Yeah. I mean, your neurodivergence should have been known for a long time because you're a truth teller in a different way. Because neurodivergent people tend to have a very strong sense of justice. So it's very difficult to manipulate people into silence when they're neurodivergent. It's just one of those traits.
Blame it on my ADHD, right?
Yes. No, seriously, it's a superpower and it's a morality superpower.
I can't not fight for justice. And this has been a long time coming for me. I'll talk about this, and I have to start writing this book, but I was a witness in the Mike Tyson trial. Desiree Washington was my best friend, and we were really close in high school. She went to Coventry High, I went to East Providence High, and we became really friendly. And she went to the Miss Black America pageant, and I got there the day after she was raped by Mike Tyson. And I went with her to the hospital, and I held her hand as they performed the rape kit on her, an examination. As her feet are in a stirrup, I'm holding her hand. I know everything about that case. I was very, 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 very much there. And I fought with her. I fought very hard. And he was convicted. And he did do it. And he did admit it at the trial. He said, I know I did something wrong, but I didn't break no bones. So what's the big deal? You don't believe me? Go get the transcripts and read it for yourself. The man admitted it. And it wasn't televised. So, people just run with the narratives. And if someone's famous, it's like, because you love that person in their fields, you seem to, it's unbelievable for you to think that the person that you idolize could possibly be a degenerate, a child molester, a rapist, or whatever, fill in the blank. But they are. There's lots of them in Hollywood because they are never told no. They're narcissistic, and there's no system of checks and balances. When you're rich and when you're famous, you can do what you want. So, yeah, I mean, I could probably be in about 10 documentaries, actually.
Yeah, well, I think you should just produce one that's like all the stories I have been telling forever, but nobody was listening or twisting.
I am working on one that I can't wait for it to come out.
I know.
Mwah.
I would like to do that interview when that show is fully done and produced. I would like to,
of course,
do the interview.
Absolutely.
Because I have so many questions.
And I have so many answers.
Yeah. I do want to ask about the Tyra accusation from Janice Dickinson. And I know that she's not anyone's favorite, but the idea that Tyra was harder on the Black women out of competitiveness. Do you see it that way? No, I don't.
I think Janice is riding the Tyra Banks hate train right now, and she's trying to get a little jab to her because Miss Janice, we remember all the things you said to the Black women on that show. And there were times where you were being very cruel, where Tyra would look at you and say something. Like, what we're not about to do is rewrite history about this woman. Was Tyra, could Tyra have done a better job at being protective of those women? Hell yes. But we don't know the battle she went through. I don't know if she was going to the network and complaining and saying, yo, this is wrong. I don't know that. But I don't like how they're all jumping on her back like they were all trying to fight against this. And it was just Tyra that did this. When we saw in so many episodes, them talking so shitty to those girls, with the exception of Nigel, which I don't remember him saying anything mean. Every one of those people were mean to those girls. Every one of them. And we can sit there and say, well, Tyra was executive producer. You know what? I've been on lots of projects where I got executive producer credits because they couldn't pay me my rate. And they gave me a credit. It was a vanity credit. It meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. Oh, we'll just give her a credit so we don't have to pay her as much, right? So I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle. Janice, I think Janice is trying to rage bait us a little bit. So it's kind of like when the kicking a horse when it's down, or beating a dead horse, I would say, or kicking someone they're down. Like, let me add on to this, because you never said anything about this until these documentaries came out. We never heard you say this before. If you were truly appalled that Tyra Banks was being extra mean to just the Black women more than the whites, why didn't you say this when it was happening? Why didn't you say this 10 years ago? Why didn't you say this 5 years ago? But now, when the documentary comes out, everyone's distancing themselves from Tyra. Like, wasn't me. Janice, we saw you I think you were the meanest person on that show to the models, in my opinion. I don't know. You may think differently. What do you think?
Well, Janice was really supposed to be like the Simon Cowell of America's Next Top Model, where it was like this ruthless, criticism. Yeah. And I think that it landed, let's just be honest. First of all, there could never really be a female Simon Cowell because women can't get away with the things that men can get away with doing. But Janice Dickinson definitely gave her all in terms of that villain role to the show. Yeah. That never would have flown now, but clearly when it was airing, absolutely. And she made a name. That was the resurgence. That was her resurgence. That was like a template that I think some would argue that Lisa Rinna fell into, or like in that villain role. Now, I don't think that, I'm not really comparing the two in terms of what they've done. But there is that idea of the resurgence becoming a household name after having a long-standing illustrious career, but coming back in that way. It's kind of very fame, shame. It's all the same game. So I don't know I think there's something to, sometimes you can get amongst females like a mentorship type of role, and that can become increasingly toxic when there's like a misappropriation of power. And so I don't know if I was seeing it that way at the time. Now I look at it a little differently, like a toxic big sister energy type thing. Being more critical about things that are actually your own insecurities and not that of the young woman that you're speaking to. I think Tyra didn't, at the end of the day, I just don't feel like Tyra was really healed enough to be in a position of nuance in that way. And the fact that she took such little accountability, I think she might still be on that journey. And I wish her well on that journey. I think that Tyra's done amazing things, and I don't think that she deserves to be the scapegoat of all of it.
Yeah, that's my main problem. I'm not saying that Tyra Banks is innocent. I'm saying I don't like how they're all acting like they were all perfect to these girls, and Tyra was the one that just was so evil because she's also in a position where, like, if she shows favoritism to the black girl, she's damned if she does that, right? You know, like don't be being extra nice to the black people because you're gonna look like you biased. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. My main thing with Tyra Banks, my main criticism with Tyra in this documentary was when Shandy and the whole issue with her boyfriend and framing it as she cheated on her boyfriend, then keep on picking at that scab. Like, that was humiliating for a girl that young. And whether you're on the fact, whether you think she was, you know, sexually assaulted or she just was irresponsible and was a cheater, hey, wherever you fall on that, there's some things that you got to fight for to not be on the show. And again, I know I'm being a little bit contradictory because I did say that I don't know how much power she had on that show for real. I don't think she had the power that we think she did. I don't. But even with that being said, I wish she would have taken a little bit of accountability. Like, you know, I really was against showing that part of the story. And I went to the network and I told them that we shouldn't. And they shut me down instead of acting like you barely remember who the girl was. That's why I was like, oh, Tyra,
yeah, that's unforgivable. That's inexcusable. Because from my standpoint, what that read to me in that moment. So you know how, and I don't know all the intricacies of Tyra Banks' life, but she came across to me like somebody who always had, her mother was very involved. So she seemed as if she was more sheltered than some of her counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a person who has been sheltered, especially like, again, Tyra was like in her late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this thing where it's like, I did it this way, and that makes me better or more pure than the way that you came up and did it. That kind of is the way that it came across to me. So like it was almost like othering Shandy. Like, don't be like the others, but you know, you have to be responsible for your drinking, or, you know, you need to be a better person to a man that you say that you love. Like, it was almost like she was showing the difference between who she was and how she does things to a higher standard, which should be commended, versus who her counterparts might have been in that moment.
That shit was foul. That made me mad. I looked at it like that was like, if I saw you out, if you saw me out, and we're out in Vegas and one of us had too much to drink, right? You're supposed to grab your friend, be like, come on, we leaving. Like, let me make sure you get back to your room and drink some water. And then if you need to go throw up, I'm gonna hold your hair, I'll be able to the toilet. You don't just let boys come over in the hot tub and follow them back to her bedroom and then the shower, and then they have sex, and then you just have the cameras rolling. There should have been a point where Tyra jumped in and said, hey, y'all, listen, I know this is like probably great TV for y'all. We can't do this. Their mothers, I don't care if they're adults, their families entrusted my show with my name attached to look out for these girls. Not on my watch. I would have ruined all the footage. I'd have been like, no, absolutely no. Especially me, I have a friend that was raped. No, we're not doing this. You're going to have to film, get creative with the filming and the editing, do something else. But I'm stopping this. We brought the boys in. They brought the boys in from the photo shoot. So production was responsible for that. That's not, what if this woman would have caught a STD or got pregnant? That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me.
And they filmed her asking him, the guy that so basically she was essayed because she wasn't in a state of mind to consent. So either way, it's sexual, it's inappropriate. And it should have been, the reason why I think the essay is the appropriate term for it is because you have grown people who are in the room with you, knowing, and they're sober. So they know that you're outside of your mind when this is happening. You have sober adults in the room, and no one said anything or did anything to stop it with this very young girl. So the moment that you have somebody who's coherent, like that's almost like a frat house situation.
Yes. And then to sit there and be like, well,
how egregious this all is. And then they had her call her boyfriend or call the guy and ask, so you just had somebody who you're not even sure if he was as messed up as you were, and if he just took advantage of you or not. We have no idea what level of sobriety or not this man was on. So now you have her call this guy and ask if he's been tested for STDs. And she had to take a pregnancy test and get tested. I mean,
horrible. Horrible. I would want to whoop everybody's ass if I was her. When I got sober, I'm whooping everybody's ass. You let this guy come in my room and I'm drunk with liquor that y'all provided for me? I mean, so a bartender is more responsible than these producers and all the chaperones and stuff. A bartender that says, hey, I think you've had enough to drink. I'm not going to serve you anymore. She's skinny as hell. You're in a hot tub. You're not eating. It's making the drunkenness even more intense. No, that was production, Tyra, all of them. That was my biggest issue with that whole documentary. And then people will criticize Shandy and say, well, she laughed about it. She said it wasn't SA. Do you know how many women are in denial about SA so they can cope with what really happened to them and be like, no, it wasn't a rape. I know so many women that make dark jokes about their rapes or their child molestation because it's easier to make it seem like it didn't happen to you, like it make a joke out of it, and to really face it head on and really deal with it, because then you're going to have snap, breakdown. I do that with my traumas all the time, make dark jokes about it instead of being like, and then this time, like no one has time for that. So this is what people that are survivors do. They make jokes about it. So to not give up, like not to show that thing won. I was defeated. Right. You know what I mean? So no, miss me with that.
I agree. Right. I agree.
All right. You're listening to Accidentally Informed. I'm Claudia Jordan with my girl, Erica Cobb. Now let's talk politics. Far right, down low, in my opinion, sub 5'6" commentator Nick Fuentes, Hispanic man denying his Hispanicness, acting like a white man, is reportedly telling his supporters, do not vote Republican. That's right. Even a broken clock can be right twice a day. You heard that correctly. He said, do not vote Republican. Take a look.
We need in 2026 for this administration to be shut the down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel? This administration needs to be shut down immediately. Do not vote in the midterms. And if you do, vote for Democrats. This.
Now, his reasons aren't good. He actually is mad at the Trump administration because he thinks they're not going far enough, harder on the immigrants, harder on us. He wants them to be more cruel. But hey, I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you. Maybe not the reason why you're saying this, but I like your call to action to your fellow Republicans. I hope you inspire all the other non-coochie getting virgins in America that are sitting there with their humongous bellies and not having a full set of teeth in their mom's basements, and that are Republicans that are like glazing Donald Trump. I hope they listen to you. Even if we get 5%, that's enough for me. I'd be happy with that 5-10%. Believe Nick Fuentes this time. You know he's never had sex with a woman.
What?
But he says he's straight. He said he's never had sex with a woman. He said actually having sex with a woman is one of the gayest things you can do. You know, these people that are homophobes a lot of times are, you know, that themselves. He's afraid of coochie. He's short, knock-kneed, pigeon-toed, and he has not felt the insides of a woman. But he doesn't say.
Why would he have volunteered?
They asked him if he ever had sex with a woman. He said no.
Okay. Well, all right. Here's
Dick Fuentes. I think his name should be Dick Fuentes.
Oh my gosh.
He's not. I'm not saying he's gay because I have way more respect for gay men. I just think he's just an asshole. That's it.
Okay. This is what is happening, and it's been happening for quite some time. It started with well, it didn't start, but when Marjorie Taylor Greene all of a sudden had this like about face, and like, I mean, even her face looked different. I was like, somebody scared the bejesus out of this woman. Yeah. But this is what's happening. Everyone is divesting, and all of these different entities are like, and people are starting to try to grab their own bases, because we don't have a secession plan. Like, well, not we, but in terms of like that party, there's no succession plan. Like, there's no clear leader that comes up after Trump. So
Oh, you
everyone
don't think JD Vance
who?
or Marco Rubio? Oh no, Rubio is too Latino. Vance got a brown wife, and people don't respect him. They can't stand him.
I don't even know who that man. Who is that man? I mean,
JD Vance, who changed his name like 3 times.
Yeah,
the guy he had sex with couches. Remember?
Oh yeah. I don't know last time I saw that man. I mean, I've seen him. Well, when he was booed up with Erica Kirk, that's when I saw him.
Well, they say she's pregnant.
His wife is pregnant. Yeah.
No, they said Erica Kirk's pregnant too. Did you hear that?
She got a 4th baby daddy.
Let me look this up.
Didn't they say she had 3 different? She got pregnant by 3 different men that weren't her husband.
Erica Kirk was in them streets. She was in them streets. There needs to be Love and Politics this fall on VH1. Love and Politics.
Yeah, somebody
be on there.
Usha's pregnant.
I think I heard something about. I think I heard Erica Kirk was pregnant, and then that's when Usha was like, "Okay, watch this," and then she got pregnant. Like, watch this. Let me ask. Let me make sure. Let me ask Gronk. I mean, let me ask ChatGPT. I thought I heard that rumor that she was pregnant. Who do you think her baby daddy would be if she is pregnant?
Erica's?
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be JD.
Okay, let's see. Is she pregnant? No, confirmed. They said rumors about her being pregnant with a 3rd child may have been circulated on social media, but they weren't confirmed. However, she never announced a pregnancy test. Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna say she is because I want to.
Oh my gosh. Allegedly,
right.
rumored to be pregnant. I was like, oh my gosh, Erica Kirk is like the Nick Cannon of the Republican Party.
Maybe she was, but maybe she had a shmortion.
Lord have mercy. I cannot.
You know, the ones that be against it so much, it'd be the thing that they want. Well, they do.
Well, because those were always going to be the safest, most protected shmortions. Okay, where were we? What were we even talking about before?
Politics.
We got derailed. What part? What part were we talking about?
Oh, you gonna ask me about Jasmine Crockett last night.
Oh, yeah. There is really big news in your state. So unfortunately, Jasmine Crockett didn't win the Democratic nomination. But do you think that James Tellerico can flip Texas?
Probably. He could. I mean, there's a lot of Republicans that are sick of the Republican Party. And unfortunately, Jasmine ran up the numbers. She did a fantastic job. But there was extreme voter suppression once again. So first of all, for the first time in forever, they had separate polling places for Republicans and Democrats. Our governor, Hot Wheels, in the wheelchair, he turned over the voting rolls over to the Trump administration. So they were like, oh, Democrats, let's fuck with these over here. They, before in primaries, you can go to any of the polling locations and go vote there and they'll just figure it out. They made it this year where you had a specific polling place and you had to vote at that polling place. So say you work 45 minutes away from your polling place and you want to just go on your lunch break and just go in and go out. Oh, you go and get there. Then they're like, oh, sorry, it changed. Yours is actually an hour that way because Texas is a big ass state. So one woman I saw, Black woman, Democrat, 4 different places before she could vote. My aunt Connie in Houston just texted me saying she can't believe Jasmine lost and that she stood in line for an hour. You had to know it was going to be some funny business going on Jasmine Crockett had a stronghold in Dallas County. That was a county where votes weren't coming in. They told people to go to all different places. So people were still in line. They're supposed to, like, if you were in line by 7:00, no matter where you were on that line, until they're supposed to leave the polling place open till you get to vote. A judge said, hey, keep the polls open till 9:00. And then Ken Paxton, who's running for the seats, how are you still, because you're still involved, right? He turned that around and said no, that they cut that. They put those votes that came after 7 p.m., they put them aside. And a lot of those people were saying that they were turned away and they were trying to vote for Jasmine Crockett. So it's not a clean and fair. I don't think it's clean and fair. Do I think Jasmine was going to have a hard road ahead of her? Yeah, because she's a Black woman and she's not afraid of Trump. And for some reason, a white man doing the very minimal will always be looked up as a better authority on things, a more qualified candidate than the most qualified, feisty, educated Black woman. And that's just what it is. I don't know. I don't think this is the end for Jasmine Crockett in politics. Also, a Representative Green, I believe he didn't win his seat back, but it was in the primary. He was beat by a fellow Black man. Yeah, a lot of the incumbents didn't hold on to their seats. I am sad about Jasmine. I definitely voted for her and got the word out as much as I can. I still have my yard sign up in front of my house. I feel bad for her. She's definitely heartbroken.
Yeah.
James Tallarico came out of nowhere, and I'm just a little bit nervous. Of course, I want to support the Democratic candidate, but I'm nervous that I don't want him to turn out to be another Fetterman like we have in Pennsylvania, where you come in as a Democrat and then you switch over on us, pull the rug out, like our mayor in Dallas, Johnson. Same thing, came in as a Democrat, then switched his party. And also he's religious, which is not a bad thing, but I just think that look how religion was bastardized and manipulated in these last elections with Trump. You know damn well Trump ain't no real Christian.
Right.
And I'm just sick of that being used to manipulate people in this country. Is seeming to like make a push for it to be a white Christian nation where other religions don't count. And I just really think that Jasmine is the one that's not going to bow down to Trump. And we need someone that's like going to, put the people first in the Constitution. So I don't know. I don't know enough about Tallarico. I don't.
Yeah.
He speaks well. And I think people are like, oh, he's a white Obama. That's what they're saying. But hey, she was cheated just like Kamala was cheated in our state.
Well, here's the thing. It's interesting to me because one thing about the pendulum, it stays swinging. And I know that it might be pie in the sky to expect law and order, fair and balance. But I've never been like an athlete where I like competed against. Well, I did run track for like 6 weeks.
Not 6 weeks.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be better at it and I just wasn't. So I stopped. But because I've never had that but even though I wasn't that type of an athlete, I still cannot imagine trying to set myself up to cheat or be set up to cheat, like to win something unfairly and then hold that position or that place as a badge of honor. Like I don't understand that line of thinking. If I didn't win based on my own merit and talent and what I bring to the table, I don't want it. Like
These Republicans don't care. These Republicans that are in power are the people that were the losers in high school that never made the team. So they don't understand the value of hard work and getting it the fairway, getting out the mud. They like, as long as I won. They were people that did not do well in high school and college. And now they found some way to weasel their way into a position and they are abusing the hell out of it. All these people that are like negative in politics, these dictators, I think are all men that have small penises, small peni. So your plan is just to make everybody else miserable because the Lord didn't bless you in the scrotum area. You're mad at us. You're abusing the world because genetics abused you. And look, they say Hitler had a small one. They said Harvey Weinstein had a misshapen, mushroom shaped, like a flat, like a just weird looking. A lot of these serial killers, a lot of them, I'm telling you, it's as simple as that. A lot of men that were menaces to the world, you can trace it down to bad junk. And the people that were great people, I think they had good junk. You know who I think had good junk? Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama. You can tell. I think they're not insecure about their manhood. They're happy. Think about it. When you got a big one or a good one, sex is always good for you because there's no gaps. You're always like, everybody I'm with always climax. Everybody I'm with always liked my sex. Everybody I'm with always loved me and was like sprung. Think about it. I think my theory has some teeth to it. Matter of fact, watch the teeth on that. But I'm just saying, a lot of these men, they're miserable, right? Look at the men that these old, big belly, fat white men that get into law enforcement. You know, they all got little ones. So they hate the black men that were the athletes. They saw what was going on in the locker rooms. They were in the showers. They were like, God damn, that thing goes to his knees. So when they get out of high school, they didn't go to college, okay? The first thing they want to do is they want to get dominion. They want to get control over these black men that are satisfying the women that they wanted. They hate them. It's penis. It all comes down to penis envy. It does. And for the women, they know we got that wet, y'all, Erica. You know what I'm saying? We got that melon. They know we got the wet. They know we got that fire. You know what I'm saying? Your husband knows you got that fire. That's why I put that big ass ring on your finger. You got that fire. So I'm just telling you, it's all down to jealousy. And look at our skin. You know what I'm saying? It all was racism. All boils down to that. Looks and sexual parts. I'm telling you. Think about it. The racists back in the day, when they would catch a black man, what would they do? Hang him, cut his thing off. What's the obsession? It's the thing that made them so angry and insecure. Oh, can't stand him. He's athletic, broad shoulders, little waist, doesn't have a hairy chest, good skin, white teeth, strong ass, fast twitch muscles.
Patrice, not you saying preach to this.
Yes, Patrice, I'm preaching. Pastor Jordan is here. So they're like fixate on it. Listen, before we knew our boyfriends in high school had big ones, the men on their teams knew that first. They started hating them then. Then when the brothers started having sex with the white women, they knew what the white women were getting with them that they could never compete with. So they're like, up. That's why they throw women away. Like, remember how mean white men were to the Kardashians? Once they started like messing with black men, they were like, oh, because no white man would want them.
So
I'm preaching, y'all. I'm cooking.
This comes up actually. Okay, that theory absolutely, because so I've heard this on more than one occasion. Generally, it has to do, like, the only people who speak openly about this generally are adult film stars, that their value decreases if they are with a black man, like if they're a white woman, right? But the thing is, that same theory is the same theory that is talked about on, like, in the real world too. And it's because if a white woman is with a black man, then their value goes down with white men. But I was explaining to someone I know, I was like, yeah, it's the thing is, it's the fear. There's a fear there that didn't come from like a value of, oh my God, you've been with. It's like,
no, it's because I can't put my small penis into that hole after that big penis been up in there and war that took you through that. And here I come with this. I come not bearing gifts. You just got gifts bared upon you. And now I'm like, instead of me saying I can't measure up to that space has been created, I got to just be like, oh, you're dirty, you're soiled, you're sullied, you're damaged goods now because I can't satisfy you once you don't have that mandingo. But let me tell you, people, not all brothers got the big. They don't all have them. A lot of them do, though, but they don't all have them. So there's a space for you. And then there's other ways. There's other cheat codes. You have an Italian. So I hear Italian, Italian. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, yeah, the other thing, but that's the thing.
No offense.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with, to me, it's like race isn't going to be the dictator. I didn't mean to say it like that. Race is not going to be the dictator. Men need to understand how in tune women are. It's really, it's what you are actually, when you are presenting yourself, there's just a way, there's a swagger, there's a vibe. Like it's very seldom that someone isn't putting off an aura that doesn't match up in a capacity. For women who know, a lot of women just can tell. Like,
what about your penis?
Have you ever been really shocked?
No, my radar's been pretty good.
Like, he came across like this, and then it was like not what it was giving or supposed to give.
Wait, say like I thought it was big and it was small, or vice versa. I thought it was small.
Yeah.
You know, the one that you met, I thought he was gonna be small. I was like,
Really?
I don't know why.
You thought he was gonna be.
I know. I was wrong. He's not.
I told you you were gonna be wrong.
No, he wore it out. He definitely wore it out. He wore it out. You know what I'm saying?
He
I haven't been with anyone since, but he was.
He had BDE.
He does. But maybe I was just bracing myself for the worst. Like, just in case. Like, I think we lower our expectations. But yeah, I was like, oh, and I even told him, I said, I didn't think it was gonna be like this.
Well, also, it was what he was wearing.
What he was wearing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you thought BD?
Yeah. The attire, like what he was wearing, gave off BDE.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was wrong. But I lowered my expectations, so I'm pleasantly surprised. I think I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we've said too much. We need to say this on the Patreon.
It's been a long time for me. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in this next chapter in my life.
I feel like great things are coming. Great things are coming.
I think great things are coming. Great things are coming. I'm just saying. All right. If you're loving Accidentally Informed, don't just sit there. Go subscribe to our Patreon. That's where the real tea lives. And we're going to talk about getting taken through there and what's coming for me and what's coming for Erica. I don't know. That's okay. This week we're talking about jealous friends, but not from the victim side, from the jealous friend's perspective. That's interesting. Now you need to hear what one woman said about it. So coming over to Patreon, let's talk about it. So go there right now. We're about to get on there right now. Thanks for listening today, and we will see you next week, Erica. I'll see you over on the dark side.
All righty. See you there.
Put it on, girl. Let me see it. Put it on, girl. Let me see it.